Agitorium nostrum in omni Domini. Acts of the Magisterium. Oh, brother, the birds are starving. Yeah. Thanks. 25. We're looking at what
human dignity.
What encyclical or
our apostolic mandate of Pope Pius X.
Yeah, what year?
1910.
Okay, we left off. So he's condemning the errors of the Zionists. He's going through them and their false notions of fraternity, charity, justice and equality, authority, liberty, obedience. The source of authority, which the Zionists are saying, is where?
From the people.
Right. So all the modern errors are right in this. So what about human dignity? What human dignity? Just by being a natural man, according to Vatican II and John Paul II, just by being human, you have a dignity worthy of going to heaven. But you don't have dignity unless it's with supernatural orders, the supernatural charity. So we're going to see what St. Pius X says here. Take it, Anthony.
Finally, at the root of all their fallacies on social questions lie the false hopes of the Zionists on human dignity. According to them, man will be a man truly worthy of the name only when he has acquired a strong, enlightened, and independent consciousness, able to do without a master, obeying only himself, and able to assume the most demanding responsibilities without faltering.
Okay, who does that sound like?
Satan.
Yeah, I will not serve. I won't need to obey. I'm independent. Go on.
Such are the big words by which human pride is exalted, like a dream carrying man away without light, without guidance, and without help into the realm of illusion, in which he will be destroyed by his errors and passions, whilst awaiting the glorious day of his full consciousness. And that great day, when will it come? Unless human nature can be changed, which is not within the power of the Zionists, will that day ever come? Did the saints who brought human dignity to its highest point possess that kind of dignity? And what of the lowly of this earth, who are unable to raise so high, but are content to plow their furrow modestly at the level where Providence placed them? They, who are diligently discharging their duties with Christian humility, obedience, and patience, are they not also worthy of being called men? Will not our Lord take them one day out of their obscurity and place them in heaven amongst the princes of his people?
So what's he saying human dignity is not, and what it really is?
Human dignity is not a Luciferian pride that I don't need to obey anyone or listen to anyone. I'm my own man.
The autonomous man.
And then human dignity really is to that dependence on God and to perform one's duties of state well.
So St. Pius X brings up the examples of the saints who practiced humility, obedience, and were content with their duties of state, whatever God placed them. St. Joseph the carpenter. And St. Pius X mentions the farmers in their field. Are they not worthy of human dignity also? They don't have high ranks. They don't have these illusory dreams. But don't they have human dignity? Can they not attain heaven? And of course they can by sanctifying grace. So he's coming to the point, human dignity, the true human dignity is really to live in the state of grace. That's the true human dignity. Sanctifying grace in obedience to God's law. Effects of the Zionist errors on their policy. Guadalupe?
We close here our observations on the errors of the Sion. We do not claim to have exhausted the subject, for we should yet draw your attention to other points that are equally false and dangerous. For example, on the manner to interpret the concept of the coercive power of the Church. But we must now examine the influence of these errors upon the practical conduct and upon the social action of the Sion.
The Zionist organization, 27, Michael.
The Zionist doctrines are not kept within the domain of abstract philosophy. They are taught to Catholic youth, and even worse, efforts are made to apply them in everyday life. The Sion is regarded as the nucleus of the future city, and accordingly, it is being made to its image as much as possible. Indeed, the Sion has no hierarchy. The governing elite has emerged from the rank and file by selection. That is, by imposing itself through its moral authority and its virtues. People join it freely, and freely they may leave it. Studies are carried out without a master, at the very most with an advisor. The study groups are really intellectual pools in which each member is at once both master and student. The most complete fellowship prevails amongst its members and draws their souls into close communion. Hence, the common soul of the Sion. It has been called a friendship. Even the priest, on entering, lowers the eminent dignity of his priesthood, and, by a strange reversal of roles, becomes a student, placing himself on a level with his young friends, and is no more a comrade, or no more than a comrade.
So what's going on in their meetings?
It's just,
Everybody's lowered to one level.
it's the modern democracy. Just putting everybody at the same level, even bringing down the priests to conform in the wrong sense to his fellow man.
Why do you see this influence after Vatican II regarding the priesthood?
In the new mass.
Just call me Father Bob. You don't see him in cassock anymore. He walks around hardly in his suit and collar, in lay clothes. This is all part of this false democracy.
It's a false equality.
Yes. Same with the sisters. They throw off their traditional habits and they put on regular lay clothes. The only way you can tell they're a sister is maybe a little cross pinned to their blouse or a little veil, a skimpy little veil on their head. You see how all this comes out?
Yes.
You know, that's why I say with these modernist popes, they're kind of behind the times. They need to come out with a new, improved papal suit with white pants and white blazer. You know, where are they?
They need to keep up with appearances somewhere.
Because they keep the traditional form of the papacy, but their ideas fit more if he came out with, you know, a rainbow-colored pants and suit. That would fit their ideas more. Like Obama, he according to his ideas, he should have come out with bell bottoms, cut-up jeans, and ran the presidency that way. That fit more his revolutionary ideas. But coming out in suit and tie, you know, well, it looks decent and acceptable and proper, but the ideas are revolutionary. So if these popes dress the way they think, they'd be in how?
Oh, if they dress the way.
If their clothing matched the way they're thinking, they'd be dressed in, you know, hippie clothes, bell bottoms, and I don't know, something like Michael, what's his name? Michael McJagger? No. Who's the other one that's died a number of years ago? But
Michael Jackson?
yeah, that's how they should be dressed.
Oh, Michael Jackson.
That would fit their ideas. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes, Father.
So the Zionists as an organization, everyone's just a comrade, like a communist cell. Paragraph 28. False principles produce dangerous practices. Ideas have...
Consequences.
Ideas have...
Consequences.
Yeah. Go on, Anthony.
In these democratic practices and in the theories of the ideal city from which they flow, you will recognize, venerable brethren, the hidden cause of the lack of discipline with which you have so often had to reproach the Sion. It is not surprising that you do not find among the leaders and their comrades trained on these lines, whether seminarists or priests, the respect, the docility, and the obedience which are due to your authority and to yourselves. Nor is it surprising that you should be conscious of an underlying opposition on their part, and that, to your sorrow, you should see them withdraw altogether from works which are not those of the Sion, or, if compelled under obedience, that they should comply with distaste. You are the past. They are the pioneers of the civilization of the future.
Okay, what's underlying? What vice is underlying that? You, traditional bishops and priests, and you're the past. We are the future. Democracy is the future. What's the underlying vice? Pride, yeah. And that's what the St. Pius X says is one of the great pillars of modernism. Pride, love of novelty, and curiosity. Curious for always what's new and progressive. Pride, curiosity, and love of novelty, the three main characteristics of modernism. And that's in Lucifer too. And that's in the Zionists. Pride, we're building a new age, new government, new hierarchy where there is no hierarchy, a new understanding of human dignity, not with supernatural grace, but just for being a man, a human nature. Like the pride of the angels, we don't need God's supernatural happiness. We're just perfect with being imperfect angels. And then love of novelty. Of course, during this time, it's all these inventions going on since the 1600s. So inventions make people think, oh, when we were growing up, they'll say by the year 2000 we'll be having homes on the moon. People will be living on the moon. I remember that. So this illusory future, their future city, as he calls it. All right, continue.
You represent the hierarchy, social inequalities, authority, and obedience, worn out institutions to which their hearts, captured by another ideal, can no longer submit to.
Okay, apply this to the modernists of the conciliar church. You, that is the traditional Catholic structure, you represent the hierarchy, pope, cardinals, bishops, priests, faithful. Now we're going to level all that with synodality and collegiality. You see how this is all alive today. You represent social inequalities. But we're going to be, everyone's equal. Altar girls and altar boys. Women priests, male priests. Women deacons, male deacons. All religions equal. Authority. You represent the authority and obedience. But that's worn out now. That's past. Now everybody's an authority. Everybody's a king. And everybody's a Burger King. They all get their crown, right? And obedience is something in the past. Obedience for the Zionists, no more obedience, but it sounds reasonable to me. I think I'll work with it. That's human pride. And that's what a lot of American boys and modern boys and girls have a problem coming into religious life. they have a big problem with this. Because the superior is telling me, go shovel that dirt. But he just said, can you please go shovel that dirt? That's your job today. And, this is below me. I'm not getting paid for this. And he's just given me a job. And that's the modern pride. And in the 1800s, that was the words of the priests and the sisters, that the Americans were very proud. They don't just obey. And that was a problem. It was part of the Americanist problem. So, and it's all rooted in this, the modern democracy, right? The saints see the authority represents Christ. He's not asking me to sin. I obey for the love of God, as Christ obeyed. He set the example of obedience, a happy obedience, and not, this is below my dignity. Why don't I get just this job and not another job? Well, that's just because that's the way it goes. And the superior is not God either. He's just trying to help run the place and for the good of the whole place, but he sees the good of the whole monastery or the good of the whole religious house. So the Sion, they wanted to reduce it to, a huge cooperative, a huge union, the church to a huge union. Authority and obedience, these are worn out institutions to which their hearts, captured by another ideal, can no longer submit to. So the old ways got to go. The new is in. The new is in. Get rid of that old, dusty old Mass. And that was what the word was in the 60s and 70s. The old Mass is gone. It's an old, dusty old thing. It's gone. Finished. And the only pain in the neck was who continued tradition. And no one's more modern, more up-to-date, more with it than traditionalists. It's true. So what do you get when you get the new Mass? It's stuck in that 70s times. Burlap bag vestments, the old ugly vestments, the old ugly folk music that they sing. It's stuck in the 70s. So this is very important what he's saying here. So he's saying, you, the bishops, traditional, this is 1910, this is still good bishops in France. You, the good bishops, represent the hierarchies, social inequalities, authority, and obedience. Worn out institutions in which their hearts, captured by another ideal, can no longer submit to. Read on.
Occurrences so sad as to bring tears to our eyes bear witness to this frame of mind, and we cannot, with all our patience, overcome a just feeling of indignation. Now then, distrust of the Church, their mother, is being instilled into the minds of Catholic youth. They are being taught that after 19 centuries, she has not yet been able to build up in this world a society on true foundations. She has not understood the social notions of authority, liberty, equality, fraternity, and human dignity. They are told that the great bishops and kings who have made France what it is and governed it so gloriously have not been able to give their people true justice and true happiness because they did not possess the Zionist ideal.
Yeah, they weren't with it. They weren't in the Vatican II spirit. They weren't democratic. So all these words, this is why it's so dangerous and confusing too. Authority, liberty. There is a true Catholic liberty. There is a true Catholic understanding of equality and fraternity. And Leo XIII will cover this more thoroughly in his encyclical condemning Freemasonry, Humanum Genus. And he says authority, but understood as authority. The Catholic understanding is
Authority comes from God.
the Zionist, modernist authority is
That it comes from the people.
liberty. Liberty, according to Catholicism, is
The faculty of choosing.
louder.
The faculty of choosing the means to the end while keeping order to the end.
Yes. So it's a faculty that you can use or misuse. But in the modernist, Zionist, democratic, and Freemasonic idea of liberty, it is
To do whatever I see fit.
Yeah, I could choose if I want to sin, I can do it. I can divorce if I want. I can live like a pig if I want. I can do whatever I want. But that's not true. We don't have a right to break God's commandments and spit on his laws. So true liberty is to keep the commandments, order to the end. All right? Equality, the true equality is understood as what? Says Leo the 13th and Pius X. True equality, we're all equal only insofar as we have a eternal, immortal,
Soul.
created by,
God.
and it's going to be, at the end, it's going to be judged. That's the only way we're equal. Everything else, there's no equality. There's no equality of skill, intelligence, virtues, gifts, ways of thinking, even physically, of course. Women are not equal to men. Men are not equal to women. They cannot bear children. And here you got, that Howley, Senator Howley. He's great in Missouri. I really like him. He's really, and there's in one of these, whatever was going on, the court case, he was really roasting this woman and asked her, can a man bear a child? Can a man get pregnant? Well, and she's just like a snake squirming. She cannot answer. And he says, give me a yes or no answer. Can a man have a child and get pregnant? Well, you are imposing your undiverse beliefs. And she just cannot answer, this idiot.
They don't answer yes or no questions.
No.
They're trained to not answer, kind of weasel around the question, and then play victim, and then start accusing them for attacking them.
That's exactly what happened.
That's what they do.
That's exactly what happens. And this is what these people are like, though. You can't pin them down. Modernists, like St. Pius X said, you can't pin them down. And then so equality in the Catholic sense is very different from the modernist sense. Fraternity, same thing. Everybody's an equal. No hierarchy. So bishops run around in lay clothes. And the Pope, he's not come out in lay clothes yet, but if they fit their ideas, that's what they'll do. Seriously. And social notions and human dignity. What's the Catholic understanding of human dignity? Anybody?
To live.
With our intelligence, we submit to the
Truth of God.
to the truth, the Catholic beliefs. And with our will and heart and body and soul, we
Seek the good.
and live in the,
State of grace.
that's the true human dignity. It's the state of grace and Catholic faith. Outside of that, there's no real human dignity. Without saying divine grace, there's no human dignity.
So you could just, to summarize it, you could just say true human dignity in the, as understood by the Catholic Church is to know, love, and serve God. Correct, Father?
Yeah.
Put simply.
They are told that the great bishops and kings, St. Louis IX, Cardinal Pie of Poitiers, the great Bishop Frépel, who have made France what it is and governed it so gloriously. France had over 1,000 years of glorious Catholic history. Truly glorious. Have not been able to give their people true justice and true happiness because they did not possess the Zionist ideal? What fools, says St. Pius X. Who do you think you are? You little ankle biters. Who do you think you are? Against St. Bernard, who founded monasteries and built up France in the real way that the church builds. Right? And he's coming to his punch here. A legacy from the revolution of 1789. There it is. Which was very similar. The same revolution over here, 1776 and 1789, are the same revolution. Who's behind it?
The
Freemasons. Whose ideas? Whose practices? The Freemasons. The breath of the revolution has passed this way. And we can conclude that whilst the social doctrines of the Sion are erroneous, its spirit is dangerous and its education disastrous. So we could really say The Sion movement was the initial toxic gas released. Vatican II is the gas exponentially more powerful and spread all over the world. And it's a deadly spirit. They always talk about the spirit of Vatican II. Oh, it's the spirit of Vatican II. You got to obey in the spirit of Vatican II. You got to change the Mass and submit to the reforms in the spirit of Vatican II. So the Sionism is very important, this encyclical, because it's exactly what he's condemning. He's condemning Vatican II long before it happened. See, Vatican II was from what year to what year?
1962 to 1965.
Where?
In Rome.
Yes. Uniting the Pope with all the...
Bishops.
Yes. And the bishops just thought it was a big get-together. Who was saying this? Many of them just thought, hey, it's a nice party in Rome for a few months. But the Paridi knew what they were going to do, and the traditionalists were fighting to survive the church. And we know who won out. All right. 30. Guadalupe, a reprovable doctrine and a reprovable action.
But then, what are we to think of its action in the church? What are we to think of a movement so punctilious in its brand of Catholicism that, unless you embrace its cause, you would almost be regarded as an integral enemy of the church.
Internal
enemy of the church. And would understand nothing of the gospel and of Jesus Christ. We deem it necessary to insist on that point, because it is precisely its Catholic order which has secured for the Sion, until quite recently, valuable encouragements and the support of distinguished persons. Well now, judging the words and the deeds, we feel compelled to say that in its action, as well as in its doctrine, the Sion does not give satisfaction to the church.
Yeah, and what they teach and the way they're behaving, something's wrong. Something is very fishy in Denmark. 31. The church does not care for democracy. Do you have this little note?
Yes.
I think that's I don't know who wrote this, because I got this, sometimes you get boxes of books, and so their correction is the church does not care exclusively for democracy. So that's some American, because you always get traditional Americanists trying to defend democracy, modern democracy, but you can't defend it. The Catholic understanding of democracy, yes, and we saw that already, right? In the first place, its brand of Catholicism accepts only the democratic form of government. So no, don't talk about monarchy, that's old and dusty. Don't talk about aristocracy, that's gone and forgotten. Only democracy. That's their crusade. They accept only the democratic form of government, which it considers the most favorable to the church, and so to speak, identifies it with her. The Sion, therefore, subjects its religion to a political party. And what does the Catholic Church teach? Can you have a democratic government?
Yes.
You can. Can you have an aristocratic government?
Yes.
Can you have a monarchical government?
Yes.
Which one does the church favor? She doesn't condemn any of the three. She does condemn modern democracy, because it's a false principles. But which one does the church tend to favor more?
Monarchy.
Yes, and St. Thomas Aquinas says that. He says monarchy is the best of the three, because you have one leader that leads to one end, right? The one coach of the team can direct the team to victory. But you get three heads who are rivaling with each other how to best form the team to get the trophy, and they're fighting over what's the best way. Like an aristocracy, it's not going to be so successful, or not always. So the church reason favors monarchy because you have one leader to one end. But the one leader in the Catholic system has his advisors, usually Dominican priests, and grounded theologians and men of business and skill and all that. So he has advisors and so forth. The Sion therefore subjects its religion to a political party. We do not have to demonstrate here that the advent of universal democracy is of no concern to the action of the Church in the world. We have already recalled that the Church has always left to the nations the care of giving themselves the form of government which they think most suited to their needs. Okay, the Church doesn't favor any one government. Whatever country can have their own form of government, that's fine, says the Pope. What we wish to affirm, once again, after our predecessor, who's the predecessor?
Pope Leo XIII.
Is that it is an error and a danger to bind down Catholicism by principle to a particular form of government. So the Church is above these, whatever form of government. Don't bind the Church to democracy. Don't be doing that. This error and this danger are all the greater when religion is associated with a kind of democracy whose doctrines are
False.
Yeah, and what are the two main errors of modern democracy, everybody?
The authority comes from the people.
And
The people dictate the morality, the right and the wrong.
by,
False liberty.
and this is practically done by suffrages. Voting. Vote determines the truth.
Oh, okay, majority vote.
Oh, yeah.
I see.
The majority determines truth. Majority vote determines what's true and what's false. You follow?
Yes.
A very important point. But this is what the Sion is doing. For the sake of a particular political form, it compromises the Church. It sows division among Catholics, snatches away young people and even priests and seminarists from purely Catholic action, and is wasting away as a dead loss part of the and it is wasting away as a dead loss part of the living forces of that nation. So when you get priests who are behind only democracy, it's the only form of government that works. Well, he's not being objective. And plus, their principles are wrong. So many priests were sucked into this modern way of thinking. And seminarians. And in the Vatican II Church, it's the same thing, collegiality. The bishops tell the Pope what to do. The parish councils tell the bishops what to do. The parish lay board tell the priests what to do. So the laity get together. Father, this is what you're going to sing this Sunday. This is what Julie is going to read the epistle. And you're not going to give the gospel this time. It's going to be Fred because he's a permanent deacon. And you can sit during communion. We'll give communion. You can just sit there while we give communion. That's what they do. And if the priest tries to say, well, no, I'm gonna give communion, and you're all going to sit down, then they complain to the bishop. The bishop steps in and says, Father, Vatican II says we need lay participation, so you do what they say. You sit down and you let them give communion. You see?
That's scary.
I know it, but this is exactly what happens.
And
And the priests are bound. They can't do anything if they're a good priest.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, Father, because it kind of goes against their own principles. Because if it's the laity who dictate what the priests do and the priests who dictate what the bishop do, if the laity call up the bishop and they say, our priest is not doing what he's supposed to,
Right.
then can't the priest just say, hey, hold on, aren't I supposed to be telling you what you're supposed to be doing?
Yeah. Well, that's how John Paul II, he never gave communion in the hand until he came to Canada. And the bishops told the people, go up with your hands out. Go up with your hands out. So they started doing it. And one after the other, Pope Jean Paul caved in. That's collegiality in action. It's satanic. 32, the duty to use politics to defend religion, Michael.
And behold, venerable brethren, in astounding contradiction. It is precisely because religion ought to transcend all parties, and it is in appealing to this principle that this Sion abstains from defending the beleaguered church.
The beleaguered church.
The beleaguered church. Certainly, it is not the church that has gone into the political arena. They have dragged her there to mutilate and to despoil her. Is it not the duty of every Catholic, then, to use the political weapons which he holds to defend her? Is it not a duty to confine politics to its own domain and to leave the church alone, except in order to give her that which is her due? Well, at the sight of the violence thus done to the church, we are often grieved to see the Sionists folding their arms, except when it is to their advantage to defend her. We see them dictate and maintain a program which nowhere and in no degree can be called Catholic. Yet, this does not prevent the same men, when fully engaged in political strife and spurred by a provocation from publicly proclaiming their faith. What are we to say except that there are two different men in the Sionists? The individual, who is Catholic, and the Sionist, the man of action, who is neutral.
Okay, and that's Freemasonry, isn't it? Your private belief, but when we work together in the clubs and the groups and meetings, everyone's neutral. Pure Freemasonry. And this is the modern system of modern democracy. It's the Western world, isn't it? I have my private beliefs and my practices with me and my family, but when I go to business, it has nothing to do with my religion. And politics too. 33, from the little Sion to the greater Sion. Anthony?
There was a time when the Sion, as such, was truly Catholic. It recognized but one moral force, Catholicism, and the Sionists were wont to proclaim that democracy would have to be Catholic or not exist at all. A time came when they changed their minds. They left to each one his religion or his philosophy. They ceased to call themselves Catholics, and for the formula, democracy will be Catholic, they substituted democracy will not be anti-Catholic, any more than it will be anti-Jewish or anti-Buddhist. This was the time of the Greater Sion. For the construction of the future city, they appealed to the workers of all religions and all sects. These were asked but one thing, to share the same social ideal, to respect all creeds, and to bring with them a certain supply of moral force.
Okay, this is all very powerful, right?
It sounds like a Freemasonic sect.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely had lodge members, I'm sure, secretly. Democracy will be Catholic. That was good. But they changed it to democracy will not be anti-Catholic. So look at the SSPX. Rome must be Catholic. Rome must proclaim the kingship of Christ. We want the Catholic society. That was the old SSPX, Archbishop Lefebvre's position. Now it's, well, we won't be anti-traditional. We won't be anti-Christ the King. We won't be anti-this and anti-that. So in other words, they become more neutral, more neutralized. And all right, we're going to pick up next time that he's getting to the point of religious indifferentism and assisi. Adjutorium nostrum in nomine Domini.